Hi everyone, this is Mark from 9to5mac.com, and we've managed to get our hands on a case for the second generation iPad. So let's just go over really quickly what we are already expecting. We have this larger space right here where the speakers are on the current generation iPad. It's going to be tapered, the iPad 2, based on what we can tell from this case. So this is just going to be like a larger speaker grill. Here's the 30-pin dock connector port. There's a port right here that we're not really sure what it is. Some have speculated mini USB or SD card. Top is the headphone jack found on all of Apple's devices. Sleep-wake power key, and then we have a hole for the 1-megapixel camera. We have the rocker switch right here, which can be used as a mute switch or a switch to lock the screen orientation. And we have the volume switch right there. Now, let's go back to this mysterious port right here. Some have said it's going to be an SD card slot. We've actually tried putting in an SD card slot, an SD card in this little space right here, and it's actually wider than this space. So it's definitely not that. It doesn't fit. It doesn't really fit one of the official Apple dock connectors, so it's not like a landscape port that was rumored. Also, there's been some rumors that it could be light peak. It sounds possible with the rumors of the light peak equipped MacBook Pros, but it doesn't really slide in because of the tapers. Also, some cases that we saw online and on other websites had a little hole at the top now that was rumored to either be that light peak port, USB port, SIM card slot, stuff of that nature, but that's not present on this case. The case manufacturer, who's going unnamed on this case, actually told us they had an official mold that they secured from the manufacturer in China of the second generation iPad, so they're fairly certain this case will fit the new iPad that's coming out within the next few weeks. It's like another thing that you should notice about this case is how thin it really is. It's really hard to explain how thin it is. Like, we can't stress enough how remarkably thin it is. Let's compare it to something like the iPhone 4 here. The iPhone 4 is get a flat surface here. iPhone 4 is, like, I'd say, thicker than this case, as you can see here. How much thicker it really is. It's about, I'd say, 20% taller than that case. And when you put it in there, you can really see how taller it is. It's barely touching the middle of the iPhone 4's volume keys right there in the silent switch. So it's really thin. And we're going to put an iPad in it right now. Put the iPad in, and as you can see, it's sort of the same thinness, just the current generation iPad's a little taller there. But like when you're getting towards the middle and seeing how true the tapers are, it's remarkably thin, and we think it's amazing if Apple really pulled off making the iPad that much thinner. I mean, at this glance right here, it doesn't really look thinner, but you have to hold one in your hands to see. The silent ringer switch looks like it's going to be in similar size, but we think that it's going to be sort of like the iPhone 4's ringer switch here, because with this taper it would make more sense if it actually slid down like this. Another device we want to compare the thickness to is the Samsung Galaxy S, which is in similar thinness than the iPhone 4. So if you look at that, it's really thicker than that. So it's remarkable what Apple has done here. If this case does, have merit, which we think it does. Now, in terms of camera hole size, that's been a discussion of debate. Our personal SDK findings said that the iPad 2 would have a 1-megapixel camera, but we look at the lens size. Now, something we want to compare the lens size to is the iPhone 4's lens. The iPhone 4 has a 5 megapixel camera. If you compare it, the hole size is bigger than the camera hole. It's a lot bigger, but megapixels and lens size really don't go well in proportion together. It really depends on everything that the company making the camera is putting in the camera. This camera case companies are known to make their camera holes larger than they actually need to be due to like snug reasons and such. So we really can't justify why the hole size is the size it is. So thank you very much. This is Mark from 95mac.com.